This is the reading for the Capricorn male in a couples relationship. I use the what I call an anchor spread. I spread out the cards in an anchor, and I use the Romance Tarot and the Sex and Love Tarot, and I just lay out the cards and see what comes up, and hopefully to illuminate any, you know, crosshairs that you might be dealing with, or accentuate, you know, something about your partner that you may not have understood in some kind of way or another. So this should play out through the month at some point of February 2018. So happy Valentine's Day, Capricorns. I'll start off with the first card in the romance area. The first card we get is the Four of Cups. So the Four of Cups, it very much symbolizes an energy of this Capricorn male in this coupled relationship wanting to accommodate the female and feeling very happy to do so. He's very much being inspired by the woman and what do you want? Well, I'm very attentive to her needs, okay? Now the next card I get on the sex side of things is the Hermit. So that's number 9. The Hermit is usually about someone who kind of voluntarily takes themselves out of the relationship in a physical way. So somebody is stopping the physical side of things in order to, and I'm feeling like there's a responsibility here, so we kind of have to take that out of the mix. I don't feel like this is anything devious. I feel like there's a responsibility here, and this just can't be, the two of them can't coexist together. So we'll carry on. The next card I get is the Page of Wands. And the Page of Wands is about admiration and loving, feel like having a lot of, it's interesting because I'm picking up on a couple here, but for some reason the male feels distant from the female, feels removed somehow. And there's a sense here of voluntarily agreeing to that for one reason or another, and I'm not too sure what that is, but the Page of Wands is really about gaining all of that emotion and getting ready to pour it out somewhere, okay? So if we're in a relationship, it seems like either the Capricorn male is building up all his resources in order to explode on the partner, but hasn't yet done so, but feeling distance, or maybe there's a timing issue here. Feels like it's not right time. I just want to, you know, say how I feel and tell her what I'm feeling and da-da-da. But there may be a timing issue. So the next card I get on the sex side of things is the Tower. So that's interesting because we have the Hermit here that talks about removing yourself voluntarily, and then we have the Tower card, which symbolizes something in the relationship that has to go, and we're talking about a physical side of things. So this is interesting because it's there's something here that is really coming to a head, and it has to do with the physical side of things. So somebody has taken it upon themselves to cut off the intimacy, something to do with the intimacy here not connecting on that level, yet an urge to really want to. As I carry on, I get the Six of Coins. And the Six of Coins is really, I attune it to mean admiration. Again, it's kind of a distancing feeling I get here. We have a painter. I mean, we're not talking about a couple here, but we have a painter who's admiring the woman, and he's, you know, so there's something here about admiration. So we may have a situation where the Capricorn male is having someone outside of the relationship admire his wife, and he's kind of going, okay, that's it. what's going on here. You know, he's kind of getting suspicious to the point he's removing himself from the physical atmosphere, going, what's going on? He's got to figure things out first before he can turn things back on. He's feeling something off, okay? That could be a scenario. Now, the next card I get on the sex side of things is Temperance. So usually that's about trying to balance things out, right? So maybe we have the Capricorn male overdoing things a bit. You know, you don't have to shut off the love valve in order to deal with a crisis situation. And I feel like this is really a jealousy issue that's come to bear itself. Okay, so like a lesson within the relationship, and this is all about trust and all of that. And I feel like the Capricorn male, his head is screwed on a little too tight, and we're going to blow here. And I also feel this distance within the couple, yet a grounding center for both of them. Like they're not distant because they don't like each other. It's like something else, a responsibility that creates a distance. So meaning they are both maybe so involved in work that they don't have time to collaborate for social activities after, or they don't have time to get together to schmooze between the two of them. And there may be more socializing amongst people separately in their own groupings than actually together. So, and we have to watch our temper here, because I feel like you know that your partner is worthy of love and affection because that's what you were giving her. But when it comes to others appreciating her, there's a boundary here that seems to be a huge line that's crossed. So you got to watch, we got to temper that. We got to keep that in check and not go overboard, because the tower really symbolizes that. And there's a guy here with an axe coming, you know. So, and I really don't feel like this person that is admiring or maybe complimenting your partner, I don't feel that there's anything, I mean, other than I think you need to trust your partner above all else. Now, the next card I get is the Nine of Cups. Now, the Nine of Cups on the romance side, really the cups are all a symbol of wishes that need to be fulfilled. But yet in this card, there's an imbalance between the couple. The man's happy and the woman's sad. So this is the opposite of the energy I'm getting. But nonetheless, there's one person here that's not happy. And there's wishes here that are not being fulfilled. And I feel like that's on the physical end of things. I feel like the Capricorn male is wanting more physically from their partner, but he understands because like I said, we got two busy people and there's just not enough time in the day, but it doesn't mean that he can't get frustrated and mad about it, because that's where he's sitting, right? That's where he's sitting. He's sitting in this madness and frustration, and he's kind of taking it back out on the partner when he really just has to sit back and realize what's going on here and put 2 + 2. The Nine of Swords is the card that I get to go into the sexual side of things. So that's worry, stress, and anxiety, right? And that's right under the Tower. So we've got a lot of thoughts going in the wrong way here. And a lot of them are in the mode of jealousy. Now, the next card I get is the Star card on the romance side. So this is interesting because not only do I get in the beginning, where we start out here the month of February, that's where the energy starts, and attending to the partner, going over backwards, and a connection made, right? Because he's holding her hand, and then a removal. Something sparked, something got him fired up, and he's stopping what he's doing. He's no longer tuning into the relationship. He's stopping and he's taking note, okay? And so we got to watch that we don't get out of hand here, because I do feel a sense there's someone outside the relationship that is admiring the partner. And this may be getting out of control in the way of the Capricorn male's mind. He's taking it to a degree that is just not worthy. So the Nine of Swords kind of accentuates that there's worry and stress here on a physical side of things, and we don't necessarily need all of that. Now, the Star is really about, like what I'm really getting through this card is really about hope, right? But we have the compass that is kind of laying on the ground here, and the picture's taken, and the shadow of a couple holding hands. So that's creating more distance within the relationship. So I feel like this suspicion and all of these thoughts that are keeping him up at night are really creating, and he is doing so consciously as well, a distance within the relationship. He's like, whoa, okay, whoa, things got to stop here. I got to figure this out. Now, the next card I get on the sex side of things is death. So death is the ending or transition of something. So that goes along with the idea here that we're kind of stopping on the physical side. I'm not doing anything until we figure things out, what's going on here. And I feel like he's right in there going, what's this, what's that, and what's the other, and he's going to get to the bottom of things. Now, as we move on to the bottom of the anchor, we get a double 10. We get the wheel on the romance side and the wheel on the sex side. So there are some changes ahead for this Capricorn male. Double wheel. So this is interesting because not only is it something that is fated to come into, but it's also there to teach you a lesson, right? So if we're having here where the universe saying we got to temper ourselves with this jealousy, it may be a lesson about jealousy within the relationship here that we're going to lock this lesson in and in stone, because it's like, oh yeah, we got one thing of change here, and you may go through it and kind of passively learn, but we got another one coming right behind it. So you're gonna learn this, and it's gonna be in the file folder, framed, in brass or whatever the hell you're going to do. It's really going to stand out to you in that way. You need to learn this lesson, and you need to learn it hard. So this really with the universe coming in here, like we're going to show him what needs to be done. And he's going to remember. He's going to learn, right? So there's an end to some side of the relationship here. I don't want to say it's an end per se of the relationship, because I don't get any other cards that symbolize that. We have a lot of change here, but I feel that's still within the bounds of the relationship. I think it's going to be a rough patch, and we got some explosions going off for the male. He's not liking things the way that they're sitting, but there's a little bit of jumping the gun that he's doing, okay, during this time. So we have two wheels, the sex and the romance, exhibiting that. So on the romance side, we have the wheel, and that's really about those changes within a relationship. You can get it going good, and then it goes, not so good, and we're arguing, and then we're making up, and then we're arguing. So it's about those cycles within the relationship in a community way, like this is a very public way. Now, the wheel in the bedroom talks about those ups and downs where we're really close and want to cuddle all the time, and this situation of no more physical stuff. I'm kind of, because I get a sense that the male is really irritated and agitated until he gets the answers. He can't just turn that faucet on, and the woman is feeling disillusioned because she's sitting there going, well, this is all in your head. I have but he's like, I don't care. I'm not giving it up until I figure out. And she's like, well, it's figured out. What's the, that's kind of the argument I'm getting here. Is like, it's all figured out. You're the one with the problem. So you got to figure. So he's got to go through this kind of on his own, and he's got to create a dust storm, and people are going to be hacking, and things are going to be getting out of hand, but he's got to do that in order to see the lesson here. And for now, it seems like he's just getting frustrated and angry. So the next card I get is the King of Wands. So the King of Wands is really that guy. He's focused on something, and he's going to get, and I feel like he's focused on getting answers, and he don't care who he upsets to get them. He's going to get them, and he's going to come home, and he's going to deal with that. Now, I think he's going to get answers he doesn't plan on getting. I think he's going to be shown a little bit of humble pie here, because I think we got some egos getting way out of whack where They don't need to be. And I think he's starting to charge after people that really are innocent. And so he has to kind of, like I said, eat some humble pie. But nonetheless, he's going to go there and attack things the way he feels he needs to do in that way. Now, on the sex side of things, to advance that card, we have the Ten of Wands. So the Ten of Wands is about, to me, it's about that moment where you realize she's here, I'm here, we can go have sex. Like, we haven't had sex forever, or whatever. So there is a coming together here. But like I said, the opportunities are few and far between. But the male is not really looking at the bigger picture here. Like, we really don't have time. And that's why it's happening. He's just feeling the lack and not looking at the big picture and going, yeah, it's because we're both working, we're both dealing with things, and we don't have time. So we got to make time, right? And we got to work at that to do that. And that's above and beyond the natural process of what we have to do. It's what we want to do, right? So nonetheless, in his search for the answers, he may go out and get that humble pie and swallow it whole and figure out that, okay, you know what? It's not your fault. It's my fault. And, come back and fix everything. And then, we kind of have the makeup sex and everything goes wonderful. We squeeze that in there in the rush because this Ten of Wands is really about, we got so many burns, we don't have time for sex, but we're going to make time anyway. We're going to sneak off. If we have to sneak off during our lunch break, then so be it. And then we come back and everybody's happy. That's kind of the thing. It's like we're going to get it whether we have time or not. And that's really the essence here, but I feel it's amongst kind of an apology or some kind of a sorting out of all the paperwork here that's gone on with this blowout, because there's some kind of a frustration level here for the male. And even though I don't feel him really getting angry at the female, he does cause a ruckus. I mean, he lets people know, you don't do this, you don't, whatever he perceived, right? Which was wrong to begin with, but he's kind of sending out a shockwave here. That's my territory. Leave it alone. Because I think he's feeling invaded on. Like, maybe he's not around so much, so he feels like too many people are getting in the mix here, and he's just batting them off. Like that's the energy. I mean, again, that's very possessive and very ego driven, but that's where he's coming from. So I have to explain that. So the next card I get is the Nine of Pentacles, and that's that solid, firm foundation that they came from, that they are, but we have a little loop-de-doop in between. So we get back to that, okay? We get back to feeling solid. We get back to looking at the partner and trust and loyalty. And then in the bedroom, it just transfers all over. The Three of Pentacles about fun, and taking the time and having the time. The Three of Pentacles is really about indulging in that in a grounded way and having that time to do that. So not only do they squeak one in there when the argument is over, but they manage to, for the future, now we're going to do this more often in a more accommodating way for the male, because he's really feeling out of the loop if he doesn't get that physical attraction or physical sensation throughout, right? And it just creates frustration to a level where he starts blowing outward. And that's really what happened here. But he didn't see it. I mean, he comes to that realization in a way, and the lesson's going to be learned nonetheless. But it was a hard learned one. He had to kind of blow his fuse and make a scene and go through that whole motion. But you know what? He comes to terms with it after. He goes, yeah, that, I did what he did, but I did because I love you, and la, 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 and it all kind of fizzles over. I mean, I think that his partner is kind of going, yeah, he overdid it, but whatever. What's she going to say? It is all because she loved, but he learned his lesson there. And I think that's the big thing too, that she goes away with. She's like, yeah, I'm hoping he won't do that again. And she kind of has to watch her step too. Like, she has to be more aware, right? We don't want to be caged. We don't want to feel like we're caged. We can't go out and do things socially, but she's making charts herself of what, can and can't slide, right? So they come to terms here near the end. This is all the stuff that hooks into the dirt, right? It's the groundedness of the relationship, the sexual side. We bring that back. The man is open to that again. When they close those doors, it's not for very long. They got to figure things out before. And so now those doors are open again, and the physical, sensual side is coming in. And then the last card we get on the romance side is the Four of Coins. And the Four of Coins is, again, about that distance. So there's a huge distance within the relationship, yet I feel like they're handling it quite well. Maybe not in the situation, right, over Valentine's, but nonetheless, there's a situation here where the man feels distanced from the female. And the female's really just carrying out her routine. So there may be a lack of communication from the Capricorn male to his partner. That is something that needs to be accommodated or changed or compromised, right? So on the sex side of things, we get the Three of Wands. So this may be a 3-month period or a 3-week period or a 3-day period, if you're lucky, where this kind of kerfuffle kind of extends through. We may have a situation like from beginning to end where there's 3 months here where we're kind of trying to figure all this stuff out from beginning to end. But nonetheless, the Three of Wands is about feeling karmically tied to someone and bringing the passions forward. So getting back on track, really. And the wheel, you know, we're just back up again. We're back on top. So a little kerfuffle for the Capricorn male in a coupled relationship. He blows his fuse, lays off on some people, and they're all innocent. And they're kind of like deer in headlights, like, what the hell? Then he takes some time, he realizes his mistake, and he does what he needs to do to fix it. At least with his wife, anyway. I feel like there's some people out there going, okay, well, I'm just not going to their place anymore. You know, I'm not going to go visit without a sheriff with me to verify that I wasn't doing anything wrong, you know, that kind of a thing. This guy's really laying claim here, but a little bit of ego gets out of hand, a lot more ego gets out of hand than has in the past. And that's just a lesson he had to learn. He had to learn that now I got to think about things a little longer, a little harder, a little more out of scope in order to really, before I go outward, really is what it is. I have to think about things a little longer and harder. And usually Capricorn, the earth males, they do that. But if they're agitated and frustrated and there's distance within, I mean, it's just kind of accumulated to a bad moon rising. And that's what happened. It just hit at the worst possible time. You know, the planets misaligned for a blowout and it just happened. And that was the lesson he needed to learn. So seems like a little bit of a upheaval for the Capricorn male over the February, but nonetheless we get back on track and he swallows his pride, which is good. I mean, if you can do that, it creates a hell of a lot less problems down the road, because the quicker you swallow that pride, the quicker you can move forward, and then it just really helps the partner, right? And again, I don't feel like there's anything against the partner. It's just people outside. Stay away, like back off. Like that's what is, you know, that's the energy. Just back off, give him some space, you know, give my wife some space, you know, that's what he's kind of like, just, you know, because I can't even get to her. That's the feeling I'm getting. I can't even get to her and I want to be with her and she's out doing this, doing that. And even though some of those are responsibilities and burdens upon, you know, these people, that you just give it a break. I want to be with my wife. I want to be with my partner. I want to be with my mate, you know, let me at it. And he's feeling that, you know, for whatever distance that's created within the relationship. Naturally, he's feeling more distant when she's off with someone else. So that's really what's accentuated here. And he has to learn that lesson of ego throughout. So hopefully over Valentine's Day, we're not fighting over the actual day. We have a good Valentine's Day and we just kind of deal with that situation as it will. So for February, for the Capricorns, take care, have fun, and think things through.